Good morning, friends. So we are back with the previous video, and in continuation with the previous video, the next part of the particular chapter 2, structure of chromosome and cell division. So we are here for the next part, that is cell division or cell cycle. What we know as cell cycle or what we know as cell division, we'll study about this. I hope you all are safe and you all are doing great, and you have already gone through my previous video and there is no queries in that particular video. So moving on, we have let's study what is cell cycle or cell division. So giving a heading of cell. Now first study what is cell cycle. So what do you mean by a cycle or a cyclic form? A cyclic form means that there should be a continuous process. It is a continuous process or a continuous movement of anything in a circular manner. What the circular manner means? Suppose we call it as a say I call it as a rectangle. So what happens if this is a starting point? So from here it will go here and it will stop here, then again here, then again here, and then again here. But what happens in a cycle is that, or in a circle, is that the particular movement goes on and on and on and on and on. Okay, so we call this division of cell as cell cycle, not a cell rectangle or not a cell anything else. So why it is termed a cell cycle? Can any one of you tell me that why it is termed a cell cycle? Okay, it is termed a cell cycle because this cell never stops dividing or never stops performing its own function. Okay, now you will ask me one question, that sir, you told us that you just now told me that cell never stops dividing. Is it so? No, not at all. It do stop. When it becomes old, it dies. Okay, it's not that a particular cell goes on and on and on for say lifetime. No, then it would have been that we have never gone old. Okay, so nothing like that. But what happens is that if we take a particular phase or a particular time, we find that this cell goes on in cycle. It goes on and on and on in a particular cyclic form or in a cyclic shape, and thus we call it as a cell cycle. Now a cell cycle consists of two phases. This is very important. Please be attentive and listen to what I am trying to teach you, because without getting this particular concept, it would not be possible for you all to study or to questions to your board examinations or to your board question paper. You cannot answer this. Okay, so cell cycle, this consists of two parts. The first part, what we call it as a non-dividing phase or interphase. It is non-dividing phase or interphase. Second part is the dividing phase called M phase. This dividing phase is also known as M phase. Okay, this dividing phase is also known as M phase. Now what are interphase? But what is interphase? You need to study about this, that what is interphase or what are the subpart of this particular non-dividing phase or interphase. Okay, so we'll study about interphase. See, what is interphase? The two daughter cells produced from a nucleus cells are relatively small with a full-sized nucleus but relatively little cytoplasm. The cells are said to be in a interphase, that is the resting part, or after the cells get divided, it forms it comes in the phase of interphase. During this phase they prepare for the next cell division and growth to the same size as their mother cell. So during this period of interphase they prepare themselves for their further cell division, or they grow in their size. Okay, since no change of chromosome is visible externally during interphase, formally it was called the resting phase. See, as I have already told you, of the cell, but in reality it is not true, as the cell is quite active during interphase in synthesizing more DNA. The interphase itself has three phases. Number one, the first growth phase, synthesize phase, second growth phase. So see, this is interphase. So interphase consists of three phases. Okay, the first one is known as the first growth phase. First growth phase. Okay, the second one is termed as synthesize phase. I am repeating you, it is termed as synthesize phase. And the third phase, it is known as second growth phase. Okay, now this first growth phase is termed as G1. Okay, the second growth phase is termed as S, and the synthesize phase is termed as S, and the second growth phase is termed as G2. Okay, so what happens is this, in this particular phase we need to understand this very carefully, students, because this is the whole of a concept part. Okay, now for this you can follow page number 12 of figure number 2.8. you can follow that. So first growth phase, RNA and proteins are synthesized and volume of cytoplasm increases. Okay, mitochondria in animal cells and chloroplast in plant cells divide. These two organelles have their own DNA. What happens is RNA and protein are synthesized and the volume of cytoplasm increases. So if we make some points, we can get that RNA, okay, and proteins, it gets synthesized. Okay, RNA and protein, these two parts get synthesized. Acha, volume of cytoplasm. So what are cytoplasm? So volume of cytoplasm increases. Volume of cytoplasm increases, and then what happens? Mitochondria and chloroplast divide. So mitochondria, where it is available, this starts dividing. The first point, second point, third point, so fourth point. If we go, we will find that in late G1 phase, all cell must follow one of the two paths. They may either withdraw from the cell cycle and enter a resting phase R, or start preparing for the next cell division by entering to the next phase S. So now this particular G1 phase, okay, now G1 is also termed in two phases. One is G1, early G1, another one is known as late G1. Now what happens, this particular cell which have entered to interphase, okay, now they have two options left in them. One is either they will go to a resting phase R, or they will prepare and go to the next phase of S. where synthesis phase occurs and cell division will take place, or to prepare them for their cell division. Okay, so quickly note down the points. What happened? Interphase, first growth phase, G1. What happens in G1? RNA and protein get synthesized, volume of cytoplasm increases. In mitochondria in animal and chloroplast in plants, they start dividing, and after that they have two options in them. One, they can go for their late G1 phase. Okay, so this part, RNA and protein synthesize, volume of cytoplasm increases, mitochondria and chloroplast starts dividing. This is a part of particularly early G1. Okay, what happens is late G1. In late G1 phase, they have two options. I'm repeating, they have two options. Either they will go for the resting phase, they will withdraw them from the cell cycle and they will go for the resting phase, or they will directly go to the synthesize phase and further cell division will start. Okay, now what happened in synthesize phase? Let us quickly see it. More DNA and DNA is synthesized, the chromosomes are duplicated. So the main thing that happened in synthesis phase is chromosomes gets duplicated. Okay, this is what happened in this synthesize phase. Now coming to second growth phase or G2 phase. What happened in G2 phase? This is shorter growth phase in which RNA and protein necessary for cell division continue to be synthesized. Now the cell is ready to undergo cell division and entering the dividing phase of the cell cycle. So here RNA, it is a shorter growth phase, and what happens here, that RNA and protein necessary for cell division continue to be synthesized. So we can write here RNA and proteins continues synthesizing. Okay, and after that they enter the dividing phase or the M phase. So after RNA and protein continue synthesizing, they enter the M phase. Okay, am I clear up to this? So we'll go to the next part, that is the M phase. Okay, what happens in the M phase? Okay, now what is formation of new DNA, or how is formation of new DNA done? During the S phase of the interphase, each DNA molecules, that is chromosome, duplicates in the readiness of the equitable distribution in the form of daughter cells during mitosis. For replication, the DNA double helix opens at one end and make two strands free, into which new strands begins to form. Okay, so what happens, or how this happens in synthesize phase? I am rubbing this one. I hope you all have already made a note of this. Okay, you can now see this is a video lecture. You can pause the video at any of the time and you can like make notes whatever you want. Okay, so let us quickly go on the next part. We are elaboratingly this DNA replication and DNA duplication. How is this happen, or how this thing happen take part? Now I'll not rub the cell division as the cell division chapter is going on. During S phase of the interphase, each DNA molecules, that is chromosomes, duplicate in readiness of their equitable distribution in the two daughter cells during mitosis. For replication, the DNA double helix open at one end. See. Okay. This is the structure of DNA. Okay. Now what happens? These two gets opened up. See, we can see this part, observe this part and this part. What happens from here it gets opened up like this, and when this part gets opened up, it forms new DNA structure from this particular one DNA. Okay. So am I clear to you all how this DNA replication or DNA formation of DNA take place? See, continuing. For replication, the DNA double helix open at one end, making the two strands free, to which new strands begin to form. The process continues in a sequence for the whole length of DNA. The entire DNA replication is very complicated process which you will study higher in detail class, definitely. So as of now you can get a concept that this DNA part or this DNA gets opened up in this particular part like this, and new helical form is formed. Okay. So coming to very vital questions that I have already asked you, that can cell division goes for unlimited time or can go endlessly? What are your answers? No, at some part it stops permanently. Okay, anyway, go through it. The next part we will go on the cell division. Two kind of cell division, one is meiosis, another one is mitosis. So we'll go for mitosis and meiosis. What happens in mitosis and what happens in meiosis? See, I've already told you that in mitosis one parent is needed. Okay, so a cell when it starts dividing from one parent cell, it divides into two parts and two new cells are formed. Okay, in meiosis what happens is two parents are required. So in my previous video I've already told you that two parents are required, from which, suppose for in case of humans, what happens is two parents are required where we have 46 chromosomes in our body. Okay, now in our cells, so 23 pairs, 23 chromosomes comes from father and 23 from mother. This comes together and forms 46, that is a new human beings. This is a case of meiosis. And in case of mitosis, what happened in mitosis, the thing is like one cell gets its DNA duplicated inside it and it breaks down to a new cell. Okay, so moving to mitosis. Mitosis is a cell division in which one parent cell divides into two identical daughter cell. This is one of the very important part or any very important point, that two identical daughter cell. Okay. The most important aspect of mitosis is that the same normal chromosome number is maintained at each cell division. Now I have a question for you, that can you tell me where mitosis occurs in our human body? So try to answer that, where mitosis occurs in our human body. Okay, so phases of mitosis. Now we will study in details about this particular mitosis. What are mitosis or what are its phases? So phases of mitosis are, there are two phases of mitosis. One is karyokinesis, that is the division of the nucleus. The next phase is termed as cytokinesis. Okay, so the first part is termed as karyokinesis. Second part is known as cytokinesis. Now students, please don't get confused that this thing is the M phase. So the first phase is interphase in cell cycle, and after interphase this is the M phase, which we are starting about mitosis. And in mitosis there are two particular point, or the two particular step that follows. The first one is karyokinesis, that is division of the nucleus, and the second part is cytokinesis. Okay, so I hope up till this it is clear. Now we will study about the parts of karyokinesis. It is in mitosis itself. Now mitosis consists of karyokinesis, and this karyokinesis is the division of the nucleus. Now this karyokinesis consists of 4 phases. I repeat, this consists of 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, now this consists of 4 phases. What are the name of the 4 phases? Prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. What are they? I am repeating again. Prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. Okay, now quickly write it down. Prophase, second one is metaphase, third one is anaphase, and the fourth one is known as telophase. See, this part is a bit confusing, so as this is a video lecture, this is very beneficial for you. You can forward it, rewind it, pause it and make all the notes of yourself. But yet whatever you do, my intention is to make you all clear and to make you all study, to make you all understand. So please understand. So what happens in this particular 4 phase? Prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. Okay, we will continue with this.